What's up guys, Spin Firearms here, and I know this video isn't for most of you guys, but it definitely could be, right? A lot of us have wives, girlfriends, mothers, and we, as a man, as a husband, as a son, I oftentimes feel nervous about not being with my wife, right? My wife always tells me, I've never really said this before, but I always feel safe. There's literally not a second of my day where I don't feel safe being around you. And I said that makes me feel good. And same with my kids. I want my kids to be protected, and my wife stays at home with my children. Therefore, I want them all to be safe. So a big thing to me is women carry. I want the women in my life to make it out of whatever situation they could ever be put in. And my wife was actually in a close call, like about a year ago, I'd say. There was actually a shooting at the exact place she was at a couple hours after she left, or whatever the case may be. So there's stuff like that just happens. Women should be armed too, but there's a bunch of things that they have to deal with that we don't necessarily, because they're just smaller people in general. I'm just talking about averages, right? I'm generalizing, right? So a lot of things matter, right? My mom, she was my Glock 26. She absolutely hates it, can't stand it, and that's simply because it's so thick. Her hand doesn't sit right on the firearm, so she can't hold it properly. Anyone who tells you ergonomics and texturing and grip don't matter, they're out of their mind. I've been hearing that on YouTube lately. You're crazy. You're crazy. Dumb. Anyways, so that's a handgun they don't like, right? And then something like my CZP-10M. It is perfect size for female. Very small, very easy to conceal, very, very flat shooting. That's why I recommend it. It is so flat shooting that this is what I would go to. But the trigger, cleared safety check, is just so heavy that the women in my life don't like it. They do not like the CZP-10M. The trigger is just too heavy. They love the ergonomics. They love everything about it, but they don't like that. Then I don't have it with me, my Ruger EC9S. The trigger sits so far out, and by the time it breaks, has to be brought so far in. Letting that reset go also affects them, because their reach to that trigger isn't as far or as long, so they have a harder time pulling it. So right there and then, we just eliminated, a bunch of options. So what is left? Well, I've had some women in my life shoot my M&P 40 Shield and 357 SIG, and they immediately hated it. So you're typically most women are going to want a 9mm or 380. 357 SIG and 40 tend to be a lot for them, even though my mom can actually shoot it pretty well. It's about the recoil. She doesn't like it for follow-up shots, right? So that leaves us with this situation. Well, you already know the Glock 26 is going to be out as well. The Glock 27, but converted to 9mm, making a Glock 26 because it's too wide and thick. So what do we have left? This is actually the list of people in my family. I went around and asked people, what are your favorite firearms of mine that you have shot? And this is their go-to, right? And the number one I'm going to tell you is the Smith & Wesson 380 Easy. Even though it's the biggest out of the list, this is their favorite. And that's because the recoil is so minimal. These are all also handguns that I would approve of them carrying, with the exception of one. I do not approve of the SIG P365 simply because of the issues in my household with the 4 that I have. I just wouldn't feel comfortable sending her out, but it is what it is. We'll get to that. The 380 Easy, awesome handgun. Everything was designed for hands that are weaker, potentially smaller, or can't manipulate a handgun as well. I love the 380 Easy. I carried this for about a year after my double wrist surgery. That's exactly why I bought it. I said, if something goes wrong and I need to use my firearm, I'm literally going to ruin my hands. I'm not even going to be able to train. So I need something soft shooting enough to where I can train here and there and get away with it without doing damage to my hands. So I went with the 380 Easy. Awesome handgun. I just wish they would have made it a little bit smaller. Just a tad bit smaller would have been perfect for all the ladies, right? So that brings us here. The SIG P365 is definitely one of their favorite handguns to shoot. They typically like my X version or my XL version better, but they are perfectly fine with this. And the reason why is the grip is so tiny around. That's why to me or other men that I know, it feels weird. It feels like something's missing. It doesn't feel like there's enough grip. And that's why you see me add stuff like hoe grips and stuff like that. It's just so thin this way, but also very thin this way that's sort of awkward feeling. But to them, they love it. And another thing that my mom likes that they offer is this has a manual safety. And what she really likes about the 380 Easy as well is the grip safety. For when she's purse carrying or, whatever the case may be, however they want to carry, having that grip safety adds a little bit more safety to it and makes them feel a little bit better. So that's another feature I forgot to mention. Even though they love shooting this, I will not let anyone in my family carry a P365. That's from personal experience in stories with people that I know. I'm not talking about him on the internet, her over there on that website like everyone else does. I'm talking about people that I can touch, that I can reach out and touch physically. And it just, these don't run the way they should. So, great shooter, fun for them to shoot, but reliability just isn't really there. So what do we have left? My 3 recommendations because of size. For me, this shield is a little bit too big. In my opinion, it's the best shooting for them, but it's a little too big. So what would you go with? Go with the shielded 9. My mom can shoot this just fine. And the reason why I'm talking about my mom a lot is because as of recent, she's been getting more into firearms, and I've been teaching her more, and, she's really getting there with them. And this is a model that I've had her shoot often, and she likes the shield. I need a hoe grip on mine, but she likes it without the hoe grip. She even shot my 40 Performance Center without a hoe grip. It was wild. It shot some fireballs, but, at least she could shoot it and was accurate with it. This has a manual safety, so people like having that option. But on top of that, you can use that flush mag, and it makes it just overall a tad bit smaller than the Shield 380 Easy. Barrel length. And you also got to think clothing, right? Now think about where the flush mag would sit. You see that? It would just be a tad bit shorter. Now think about clothing. They also have leggings that they wear a lot. My wife wears a lot of yoga pants, a lot of yoga shorts, the stuff that we all love to see them wear, right? But the Shield is just so thin. It's one of the thinnest options out there that's an actual battle pistol, and I would trust any woman in my life carrying a shielded 9mm. And this, I picked it up for $243.29. You know how I know is that exact amount? Just made a video on it. This is the 2.0. If you got the Shield Plus, you would have a +3 in capacity right out of the box. So that's an upgrade even from the Shield. But I know a lot of people that I know that are women that want firearms don't want to break the bank on them because they're going to carry it. They're going to shoot them with me on the weekends, but they don't care about them as much as me. They love firearms. They love protecting themselves. But this isn't going to be, something that she's all into, putting new sights on. I would do that type of thing, but a great option. Now, this right here has actually been someone in my family's carry at one point. This Safari Precision right here, and this I'm not the biggest fan of. Now, obviously, before when they carried it, it didn't have this slide. It was just a straight-up regular Glock 43. I started this build on it, and I actually took the Safari Precision ported barrel out because I do not trust ported barrels on certain carry setups. So I just have the windows on here, as you can see, look very nice. Matches the base plate, but 6+1 or 7+1 with mag guts. Just a very nice light carry piece. Oftentimes travel with this, but it was a family member's, and they loved it. Absolutely loved it. And since then, they have upgraded, but the Glock 43 is a great way to go. It's affordable. It's so small, so light, but it shoots like a much larger handgun, which is why I like it for women who are a little bit more sensitive when it comes to the recoil, just being honest with you. Love this Glock 43. Don't buy the Safari Precision upper or the ported barrel. I did. Honestly, I got it for testing for a women's carry firearm, and I just don't trust it. It's been 100% reliable, but I didn't like some of the cycling and how slow the slide was feeling, and it just is what it is. Rather have an OEM barrel in there. But right now, this is just a safe queen as it sits there. I'll carry it every now and then. I actually traveled with it not too long ago as my carry option. It was in a mag-restricted state. I wanted a flashlight on it. Ended up being the perfect option. Here's a new option I'm going to add to the list. The FN Reflex. Mine has been absolutely awesome. Absolutely great. I love everything about this handgun, and right out of the box, it gives you everything. Now, this is going to be the most expensive on the list, just a tad bit more expensive than the P365, but this thing is where it's at, and I think this is a great choice for all women. One, it is small in both dimensions, this way and this way, therefore fits their hand really well. 11+1 capacity, perfect. Pinky extension to get their pinky on there. I get about 2.5 fingers. That's perfect for them as well. I can only speak from people in my life, right? Comes with a rail, even though I don't know many women that I know that carry with the light, right? Awesome texturing, so it's going to grip their hand really well. On top of that, you have a little bit longer barrel and slide to handle some of that recoil, and I feel like the FN Reflex handles recoil better than 80 to 90% of all Micro 9 and single stacks. It just does. And that's a huge plus for women is light recoil while still being in a 9mm. Awesome sights right out of the box. You'll never have to mess with them. Orange outline tritium front sight with the white dot rear. Really nice sight picture. But the number one thing about the Reflex, reliability. 3K rounds to this handgun that you see right in front of me. We're getting it up to 5 before our final shooting review. It's been awesome. It has honestly been a joy. It's been a great handgun to have. I've really enjoyed the FN Reflex. This is a handgun I would recommend to all women. Now that the FN 503 is discontinued, the Reflex is an awesome way to go. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully this may have helped you or helped a loved one. I just want to see everyone with a firearm. I want to see everyone carry. I want to see everyone who is productive, adding value to life, taking care of their families. I want to see them continue to do that. Sometimes what that takes is carrying a firearm. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.